Hey troops, welcome back to today's video. Today we're going to be reacting to, is the US Army's new helmet a complete disaster? Well, we're going to find out. This is a video by Garand. Original link in the description as always, guys. Go show them some love. And yeah, looking forward to this one because normally the United States kit is probably some of the best stuff I've ever seen. And by ever seen, I'm comparing to that to the British military stuff, which when I was serving, yeah, a lot of it was all right, but let's face it, some of it was pretty shit. So let's get into it, guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're brand new here, thank you for supporting me, troops. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Boom. Today on Grand Thumb, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Right here, we have the old helmet, the ECH, which was an excellent combat helmet.
Yeah, I agree. That's a hell of a lot better than the design of the original helmet I first went into the Marines with. It was pretty terrible, guys, all right? If you were in the prone position, yeah, it wasn't very good at all. You couldn't see anything.
Right here, we have the Army's new combat helmet, the IHPS. There's been a lot of talk. The IHPS is a lighter helmet. The IHPS also is a ballistically improved helmet from the ECH.
It looks like it's got a lot more protection on the rear as well. Like, the rearward part seems to cover a lot more of the skull.
Now, the ECH was a really good helmet. A lot of good saves in theater. The IHPS is a little bit more untested, so we're going to do what we do best here on Grand Thumb, and we're going to test the helmet. Does it live up to the Army's claims? Micah?
Probably not.
What if it performs just as well as Russia's helmet? Today on Grand Thumb, are we going to be sad?
Let's get after it, man. This channel is awesome.
But before we get into it, we have to thank who, Micah?
Sonoran Desert Institute.
Because they are so awesome. They have sponsored the channel for a long time now.
Wow.
And if you're looking to get your start in gunsmithing, they are the people to go to. We cannot thank them enough. Go and check them out. They are just, we love them.
I do too. I don't know who they are, but I
love their
love them.
name, and I'm sure they've gotten a little angry about that. We just love them. And next up, of course, we have our favorite optic manufacturer, Primary Arms. A big thank you to Primary Arms. They have provided optics, they have been hooking us up, and they sponsor the channel, so we cannot thank them enough. And they today
it is the Nerds Rope.
And
I think their customer service hates us.
They really, actually, we did have a call with them. They're not happy. And of course, unlike the camera this is filmed on, the TV that you're watching this on, the cars that, well, unless you have an American-made car, AAC ammunition is made in the US of A. We have to thank them for sponsoring the ammo.
Oh yeah.
They absolutely rock.
Thank you.
Let's get into it. So, when it comes to the IHPS, a couple improvements have been made, so we'll talk about those very quickly. With the older ECH, there was a lot of complaints about comms compatibility. It is definitely doable. You can wear your pelters under there, just requires some reconfiguration of your helmet. With the new IHPS, there is a mount specific from pelter that allows your pelters to sit under.
You know how good that is, guys? When I was in, your ear defs basically barely fit. Especially the newly designed ones. The only flaw with this new design is you've got to use it with a specific set of ear defenders. That's the only thing. If they change, then obviously the helmet has to change with it. So smart move, really, in that regard. If you change that, you got to change the helmet. More money for, the weapons industry, I guess.
Again, they're trying to keep more kind of head protection compared to like the higher cut helmets like we're seeing, like that I'm wearing right here from OpScore. And then in addition to that, there's less bolts through the actual helmet itself. The main bolt that you have is for the NVG mount. Now we compare that to the ECH right here, and you can see we have multiple bolts for the harness system that is on the helmet as well as for the NVG bracket, and that also goes for the OpScore helmets as well. The idea being that the less holes that you have through the material, the less compromised it is going to be.
Yeah. So structurally, it's more integral because of less bolts and stuff, which is always good. If you ever get in a sticky situation, which hopefully you don't, it's going to be less compromised in that regard. I like it so far.
Other helmets have taken this approach before, such as the Safariland Delta X and others. I'm very interested to see how this particular helmet performs. It's 5% lighter while offering the same or better protection. Most of the protection from the IHPS comes from blunt force trauma. That's stuff that we really can't measure on this channel. We don't have the equipment for it. But it's supposed to have slightly better ballistic protection. Honestly, I would be happy if it just had the same ballistic protection because the ECH was a wonderful combat helmet.
I agree.
Both of these helmets are made by Ceradyne, always has been. Let me put up the meme. It's all Ceradyne? Always has been. So, talk is cheap though. Ammunition is actually sponsored by AAC. So let's get into it. Let's start shooting these helmets and let's see how they do.
Let's go.
So how we're gonna be doing this is each helmet is going to be taking the same round at hopefully roughly the same place. Am I a good shot, Micah?
You're good enough.
Good enough. So
Yeah, that means, yeah, well, good enough.
I'll try to do my best. Understand that the IHPS is of course going to have, has a little bit more hardware on it. That hardware obviously is gonna do more to stop some rounds. It's not a perfect test, but it's pretty good. I'm gonna do my best to hit the ballistic portions of the helmet.
I can't wait to see this.
This is a very easy caliber that should be stopped by pretty much every helmet, with the exception of the airsoft helmet. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna send it. All right, let's go check it out.
Ricocheted straight off that. Right, okay, so although the other one hasn't got any material on it, it seems to have done more damage ever so slightly on the older helmet, which is obviously what you want to see. You want to see an improvement, don't you, really? The new helmet has got a cover on. Would that help with ricochet a bit? Possibly, but not as much as what I've seen there.
Okay, so we have taken the shots at the 22. We're gonna go ahead and set that to the side. We will take a look and see what kind of back face deformation we have. When a round impacts, you obviously want to stop the round, but if the helmet caves in into your brain, you're still dead, so you don't want to have any back face deformation. With the 22, I expected 0, we got 0 on the IHPS. We pull this cover up right here. Yeah, so this was more of an oblique angle than we saw at the ECH.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the round just skipped right off. That is by design. On the ECH,
By design, yeah.
we actually had a little bit more deformation than the IHPS. It's very interesting. So you can see right there.
Like significantly more.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
so
very
that's-
interesting. I've seen a lot of testing that
That's damaging you still, potentially, guys, all right? The head's very fragile. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. It has actually deformed the inside of that helmet, which is, yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
has seemed to shown that the ECH would be performing better. That might not be the case.
No.
Very interesting. Let's step it up. 9mm. Okay. Next up, we have the Sandhawk. It's a 9mm. It looks
That's a beautiful bit of kit.
fancy, but a 9mm is a 9mm, as long as you have the same barrel length. So we're not getting any crazy velocity. This is military 124. Very common to be encountered in the battlefield. We'll see how it does. I'm very surprised right now the IHPS did so good on the 22. We'll try to get the same impact.
Oh, it blew off. Both of them blew off. Oh. Yeah, that's a headshot. It doesn't look too promising, to be fair. It's definitely penetrated the bloody helmet. Yeah, I think it might have compromised that helmet. I'm being honest. Oof. Bam. That's, yeah. You don't want to be getting hit with that still, troops. Trust me.
So first off, we have the ECH. We have a hit right above the rail there. At first, a little bit alarming.
Yeah, same. That's what I was saying. Like that's a headshot as far as I'm concerned.
Just a straight hole into there. However, it completely stopped it. So we have some back face deformation right here.
That's quite a bit of deformation right there. That's crushing. Yeah, that's putting hole. That's crushing your skull.
The question is, how does this compare to the ECH? So it definitely stopped the round. With the padding,
That's
survivable
cracked your
for
skull.
sure. Right, so we have the impact on the ECH, very similar entrance, very similar back face deformation.
It looks less though. It does look less in this helmet, and that's the older one.
It's too close to call, in my opinion. They seem very, very similar. It should be noted too that this ECH is a size small. That being said, there's no difference in the ballistic protection that they're both going to offer, other than weight.
Not sure.
So, yeah, very interesting. It would seem to be, so far, that they are performing the same while the IHPS is a lighter design. So
the newer one is a lighter design, more functional is the main benefit I'm seeing so far. I still wouldn't like to be hit off 9mm in the head off with either of those helmets on. They both look as bad as each other to me. I think the new one actually looks slightly worse. Might just be my dodgy eyes.
very, very good so far. Next up, what we're going to be doing is a 44 Magnum. That's very common because 44 Magnum is used in NIJ testing. Okay, we have a 44 Magnum right here.
Right, I don't know much about these things, but yeah, I think this is going to blow that big time.
Here, this is a Korth revolver, which sounds like I'm saying coarse.
I thought you were being short-tongued, yeah.
But I'm Mike Tyson.
Of course. Definitely a lot more instant damage on the helmet, you know. These things, yeah, moved off the table quicker than the last shots anyway. More damage, 100%. Oh, damn. Headshot, dead shot.
So we have the 44 Magnum hit right here on the IHPS. And if we roll it over, now we do have back face deformation from the 9mm as well. Pretty significant.
Yeah.
That would present a problem on the human skull. This
Massive
is pretty
problem.
consistent with combat helmets and how they perform, in that they can stop larger calibers, but at further distances, at oblique angles. This would obviously be a save. You'd be in the hospital for a while, and
I don't know, I wouldn't like to bet on it. Yeah, I think that's best case scenario, you're in the hospital. I think that's killing you.
How would Charlie say it?
Hey.
I don't know what he says.
A lot of things.
He says a lot of things. He says something about like potato-headed. I can't remember what he said. Something about Russians.
Oh, they have Russians have the stupid little square heads with the small eyes.
ECH, I hit lower, which presented a problem. The closer you get to the edge, as you can see here, it just pretty much pushed it out and then was able to slip through. So we are going to redo that shot. I'm thinking that the ECH is likely going to perform as good. Unfortunate. I wasn't good enough, Micah. He's a vegetable now.
Yeah. He's definitely deaded to death.
You know what the hardest part about eating a vegetable is?
What?
The wheelchair.
Yeah, it hasn't went through, but man, concussion.
We have our back face deformation, which is very comparable to the IHPS. This being a little bit less due to the fact that we already did have some back face deformation with the 9mm round on the IHPS. But so far, they are performing
Very similar.
roughly the same right now.
Yeah, very similar.
I'm pleasantly surprised that, so far a pretty good helmet. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna step it up to rifle rounds. Helmets aren't specifically rated for rifle. There are a few, but they're not rated for like any type of normal round. Usually it's like a lead core type round.
Wow.
Helmets do have a lot of saves on rifle rounds, but it's typically from oblique angles or from very far away. Next up, we have the AKM, the most common rifle in the
I just want to hint on something there. Before you join the military, this is stuff that you're just naive to. I never knew any of this stuff. And guess what? Now I'm hearing this for the first time that, trust me, for the first time that an assault rifle, the rounds from it probably is going to kill you, even with a helmet on. You'd automatically think, well, it's going to save me this bit of kit. Now I'm starting to think, wow, how naive I was. Like, no, you're dead still, which is crazy to think.
world. If you're going to encounter any rifle, a very high likelihood that it will be an AKM.
Dead. Good night. Bang, bang. Yeah, he's brown bread. I mean, we've got to take into consideration the helmet is already compromised with multiple shots, so it's definitely a weaker bit of kit anyway at this point. Damn. Yeah. What?
So we'll talk about the ECH first. These helmets are getting shot a lot, so we have certainly compromised some structural integrity. But you can see it bulged out. The round was not caught, exited into the brain. And yeah, that's a close range rifle shot. At longer range, it's going to perform better and will likely catch or deflect the round. But at close range, it's not really a whole lot you can do to stop yourself from getting killed by a rifle round through your helmet.
How many people would be naive with that fact as well, thinking that wearing a helmet means you're safe? I'm guessing a lot of people.
This is kind of the end. Also, that back face deformation is also lethal as well.
Yeah.
Right here, we have the IHPS. We have the entrance right here. We do have no exit. It did catch the round.
Ooh, okay.
It did perform better than the ECH.
Much better.
That being said, the amount of deformation that we do see is enough to be lethal. However,
yeah.
It did stop the round. So I would say overall that indicates that the performance at longer range is going to be some amount better than the ECH, which is quite surprising because, again, ECH is a really good helmet, has been used for a very long time. So that is very surprising. I did not expect that at all. I'm
baffled. Like, I'm baffled.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I really want to try a longer shot on the IHPS.
Yeah, I think a longer shot you're getting like ricocheted and stuff like that. It's going to slip off there. I mean, it's not guaranteed to happen, but I think there's a strong chance of that happening. Even longer distance, like 50 meters or so, I think it's going to stand up to the test.
We can try a longer shot on, but
do it.
I really want to see the performance of a rifle round at longer range. So we are at 300 right here. The 300 is a bit of a difficult shot, however, could certainly occur. So we're going to see how the helmet will perform. And this is going to be 5.56 out of a 12.5. Pretty good velocity. This is an LMT Spec War.
Good shot, man.
Got it. Yes.
Is he sit? Is he? Did that bounce off? They're performing okay, you know.
So there are a lot of different rounds of 5.56, so you're going to have a lot of different results depending on what you're using. I think if we had used M855, M855 Alpha 1, a lot of the typical rounds that are used.
Yeah, the armor piercing stuff definitely going to do more damage.
In War, which is the SS-109 projectile. It's that 62 grain projectile with that steel insert for extreme
inwardsness.
Penetration, there you go. With different rounds, you're not going to have as good, so we're using rounds of less penetration here. But on the ECH, you can see we have that nice little hole right there. And then it caught it with not too much deformation. Again, I believe this would have been way worse.
It's hard to see, though, because the helmet's been compromised so much. It would have been good to see, like, newer helmets, I think.
We use a round with a penetrator of any type. And then we had roughly the same result with the IHPS. The difference being with the IHPS, it's a little bit harder to tell since we'd already had deformation there. The point being that these helmets will make saves on rifle rounds at longer ranges. It's pretty typical of, by the way, the blood on these helmets is from the blood from the ECH from earlier. But there are multiple cases of rounds traveling into helmets and traveling through the air mid, through whatever material it is, and then exiting out, so where they actually don't make contact with the person's brain. They just...
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you would like to think it would do that and perform in that way, but yeah, I mean, you just don't want to get shot in the head anyway, do you, really?
Travel through the ballistic material. It's very odd, but there are a lot of saves when it comes to these helmets. So we mostly have the backs mostly intact, so I definitely want to try out shotguns and, for good measure, an SVD, just at close range.
Oh, that's why I love this channel, man. It's like, yeah, we've smashed the helmets to get it to bits, but now it's time for shotguns, and yeah, head pinpoint, you know, close range headshot.
Just to finish it off, why not? Next up,
I want to kill the helmet to death.
We have the Benelli M4 with Federal Flight Control, a pretty commonly used 12-gauge round, and we'll see how it performs. You guys ready?
Oh man, this is exciting. Wow, that's some amazing footage right there. I need to see that again. That took me by surprise.
we'll see how it performs.
That
You guys ready?
looks awesome. Damn. I didn't realize shotgun shells were as accurate as that.
We had almost all 9 pellets enter the back of the helmet right there. They were caught by the material, however, that is potentially lethal backface deformation.
Hell yeah.
Getting hit with buckshot, bad day. Point of all this is don't get into a gunfight with Marines because they tend to have those M1014s. Yeah, pull. I think I missed that.
Throw it this way.
Yeah, I'm throwing it this way.
Holy
Nice.
moly, yeah.
All right, we have an SVD. It is
SVD.
a clone, but it is made in Ismatch factory.
This thing's gonna be, yeah, putting holes in things.
Basically an SVD, a little bit shorter of a barrel. This is a very bad case scenario, which is taking an SVD round. Thought we'd finish it with something fun. You ready?
Yep.
Hole. God damn. That is rattled it. What?
Predictably, a FMJ 7.62 by 5.4R is going to go straight through a helmet. So
Annihilation. 100%.
we've done a lot of shooting. Let's go ahead and let's wrap this up. Let's talk about the performance overall. So we've done a lot of testing. How did it perform? The ECH performed very well. It's about what we expected to see. The ECH is a well-proven combat helmet, and like the results that we saw with it. I had a lot of questions about the IHPS. Specifically because I've seen Oxide's video where it really didn't perform all that well. I think this can be chalked up to a couple things. One, types of rounds used, and then 2, generation of helmet used. So, but overall, I think it should be noted that the IHPS performed very well. I'm very pleased with the types of performance that I'm seeing from it.
Yeah, it's good.
Especially given the claim of blunt force trauma, that it does better with that. I'm very much so inclined to believe that this is a definite improvement over the ECH.
100%.
I have no dog in the fight. I'm not a guy to shill for the U.S. government at all. But I do believe in this case that we do have a better helmet that is lighter, that is providing more capability. So I have to say that the IHPS, in my mind, is a clear winner. Micah?
Yeah, especially with some of the stuff we saw going for it. I was a little bummed out, but it's a good helmet. It's a good helmet. It's a good, solid
Man, that is a good helmet. You can't be unhappy with having that.
combat helmet. We'll see how long it stays in service and what conflicts it participates. But, yep, we have the IHPS, and that kind of brings us down to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of good helmets out there. What we're always going to say on this channel when it comes to ballistic helmets is use good, reputable companies. Ceradyne, with their IHPS, with their ECH, are great helmets. You can get ECH helmets for really not that expensive. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you do have OpsCore, you have Team Wendy, both of which make very good high-cut helmets where it's easier to get those comms on there. However, you do lose a little bit of protection. However, with the OpsCores, you also have better at the back of the head protection. So there's always some trade-off somewhere in the shell design. Find the helmet that's going to work for you, but most importantly, buy it from a reputable manufacturer. We do not recommend Chinese-made helmets just due to
fake replicas and stuff like that. It makes perfect sense. He's not being biased there. I agree with him wholeheartedly on that one. You've got to be careful where you're buying this from, and especially, depending on what type of industry you're in. If you're in the industry where you need to buy a helmet, you're a private contractor of some sort, then this seems like the obvious choice to me.
quality control issues. If you're gonna trust your life to something, spend a little bit more money to
Facts, man.
save yourself. That goes for armor as well. Guys, as always, all this is cool, but get training. You can have the coolest helmet in the world, but if you have not gone out and for a day trained with your boys and had a good time and gone into the mountains and seen how you react when you're wearing a helmet for months on end, when you're sweating in it, then it doesn't matter. Get training.
Yep.
Tons of great places to get training from. Vet them. Get out there. Hang with the boys. That is always a good time. And as always, we have nothing else for you. Final thing for you guys. I'm going to say it again, because this comes right down to helmets. That is fitness. You need to be fit. If you truly believe in the Second Amendment and you know what it's for, which is resisting a tyrannical government, you need to have some order of fitness, because if you're not fit, you're gonna die.
You know something?
News that shocked the world. U.S. Special Forces are now stationed just 6 miles off China's coast. With their presence...
Sorry guys, bloody infographics video playing after that. yeah, what he said at the end there is pretty true. Fit to fight, you know, you have to be. That was a fantastic video. Very, very informative, these guys. They understand exactly what they're talking about, and they give real-world experience and practice into the equation as well. This helmet is good. Why? Because look what we've just done. We've tested it against the other one that was in service, and yeah, it's better. So take their advice on this type of stuff. I think they're doing a fantastic job in the community. I'm relatively new to their channel. I'm still getting to grips with the type of content they do, but I'm fascinated, troops. I really am. Hopefully, I get a chance to meet these guys one day. But that's the video. Hopefully, you enjoyed the reaction to it. And I'll see you in the comments, troops. Let's get after it.